she starts off by saying, "Don't embarrass me, Dad," which she doesn't even know what that means, but she just heard it from her sister. That's the setup. "Don't embarrass me, Dad." Then she delivers a 2-word hilarity, "I tooted." Immediately after "Don't embarrass me, Dad." But then the real punchline, "Don't embarrass me, Dad. I tooted. It smells like sheep."
Was she trying to say shit?
No, we were like, "Sheep?" And she goes, "Yeah, at zoo."
Okay, so let's record the intro now.
So what did Milkless? Because I think we start with the name.
Two dads. We love our kids, but then we also need them to know that we're like pretty cool and it's not like a wimpy podcast. So, hey, hey, Milkless.
Hey, welcome. Hey,
Milkless. Call the audience, Milkless. What's up, Milkless? Max coming at you.
What if that's it? That's our first take.
All right, Matt, we are back live via satellite, coming at you. Here's what we got for you today. We're going to be talking about that feeling when you're on autopilot as a mom, as a dad. You know, you're doing the bare essentials. The kid is fucking alive. Get off my back. But, you know, you realize maybe you check in with yourself. You're not maybe being the parent you want to be. Listen, there's reasons for this. Matt, how do you want to get into it? I got a quick study to round us out as we're diving in. What do you want to do?
Yeah. No, I think the study's great. I also think it's like worth acknowledging that this autopilot parenting that we're seeing as a problem was just called parenting from like 1950 to 1990. So like our standards are preposterous these days, but you know, you want to do your best. And I felt like I fell into this rut for a while where it was like, I just wasn't thinking about what I was doing as a parent and I wasn't doing my best.
Yep, totally. So the study to round us out as we're diving in came from COVID. It was an OSU study, over 1,000 parents. And, you know, this is COVID times, but over 66% of parents reported being burned out during that time. I couldn't find any relevant studies, you know, currently what the burnout rate is. But let's just say, like, we're not talking about burnout, but a lot of the quotes that I saw in the OSU study where they kind of handpicked some of the things some parents were saying kind of still resonate and you know, are some representative of how I think we treat parents these days. So here's a quote. "I'm expected to be a superhuman. I can be a full-time employee, parent, teacher, cook, cleaner, playmate, and emotional support system. I can't do it anymore. I'm just so tired. I feel alone. I don't enjoy being with my kids right now. I need a break. I wake up in the morning wondering how I'm going to get through the day again." So these are some feelings. This is the extreme feeling. So just
but probably not uncommon. I mean, find me a parent that hasn't, at least for a little while, felt that way. Like at some point.
Oh, and I know that feeling in the morning when you're just like, how am I going to get through the day? You get through it, you know, rocking and rolling. So you brought this to the Milkless desk. You know, why don't you open up the kimono again?
Yeah, sure.
Not a sexual reference. It's about swords, people.
Oh yeah, settle down, and not that sword. Like, yeah, I just found, you know, I got really busy with work for a little while, and my wife was pretty busy too, and school and birthday parties and every other thing, and I kind of realized that like for the last like 3 weeks, I hadn't like actively been thinking about my parenting at all. I'd just been like reacting to whatever was going on in the situation. I was like, all right, I certainly wasn't like the super fun dad. I was probably saying no a lot, just lack of energy, stuff like that. But also, and this is something we talk a lot about, like you talk about like keeping the thread of where your kid is at and like thinking about like, oh, they're struggling with this these days, or this is going on at school, or like, oh, this is new that my toddler's doing this, and like I should be thinking about whatever. I just was doing none of that. I was just like working my ass off because that's what precipitated this. Is I got super busy with work. I was working some late nights. I was tired, and I just stopped doing anything except just showing up when it was my turn to take care of the kids. And I wasn't absent. I was still driving my daughter to school every day. I was still, you know, home in time for dinner, putting kids to bed. But I just stopped. I don't know. It's like I was reacting only. I was not on my front foot at all.
Yeah, totally. And that is so common. I mean, I know everyone knows that feeling. And I think like just to jump to what just popped into my head is like, I think what it is like a lot of times we that's what's left over is that good, juicy, like, oh man, I got a ton of sleep. I'm not super stressed out. I'm not super busy. Hey, I got a little excess capacity. Let me push that onto my kids, as opposed to thinking of it maybe like brushing our teeth. You know, like, and I was actually in a similar thing where I was playing with the kids a lot. I was with the kids a lot, but I don't know, there's that one little layer, and it can literally just be 20 seconds a day, where when you put this topic on the milkless desk last week, I started thinking, hey, you know what? I haven't really, I've been putting the kids to bed every night, but I'm not. And all I did was add 15 seconds of just not talking and saying, hey, let's make eye contact. And I just stared into each one of my kids' eyes for like 10 to 15 seconds and just told them, you know, all the great things I feel about them, how much I love them. And just that alone, and then seeing their smiles, it's like, oh, I just made a little reconnection there, as opposed to like, I'm hanging out with them for fucking 2-3 hours a day. We're having great conversations. We're playing board games. It's all relatively transactional though. Wrestling with dad, playing with dad, getting on top of me. But like, I don't know, that one little layer, it's so small, but if you're not intentional about it, you just forget about it for months.
Yeah. 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 And yeah, it's weird. And I don't like, once I realized I was kind of in this autopilot mode, the first thing that I thought was like, well, let's not beat myself up about it, because I'm not like knocking them around or screaming at everybody or like shirking my responsibilities around the house. Like, I'm still showing up. I'm doing the things I need to do. And actually, I was listening to Morgan Cutlip's new book. Cause we're talking to her again, right? Are we going to have her back on?
She's going to be on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I was prepping. And one of the things that she said in this book, she's talking about marriage and sharing the load in marriage. One of the things she said that I like, that I feel like is not said enough, is she's like, life will force your marriage apart at some points. Like, there's so much going on in your life that no matter what, like at every phase of your life, you're probably a little bit dropping the ball at something, given the expectations we have for ourselves now. Like what you cited earlier, like I'm supposed to be the perfect employee and the perfect husband, and the perfect dad, and the exercise, eat right, huh? And so I do think it's like in every relationship, including with your kids, there's like an ebb and flow of intimacy and how engaged you are. And that's just like goes with life. It was not hard to understand. I got busy at work. I was less attuned with my kids. So I didn't want to beat myself up, but I did find a couple of things. One of which is like, they got harder to deal with. My kids were fighting more with each other. That's like how it showed up. Because one of the things when I have energy to put in, I like make sure to like play games with them when they're on the same team, or if they're having a conflict, I make sure to like talk them through it so that they understand each other's perspective. But I had kind of gotten to the point where I was like, oh, you fighting over the balloon? Guess what? Balloon's gone. Like, guess what? Daddy's done with this. Balloon's gone. So it's like, I simultaneously didn't want to beat the shit out of myself about it, but I did want to do something about it. I was like, yeah, this is actually, parenting this way is actually harder, strangely, than parenting in a way that's engaged.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is like, it's, I think if you have that feedback loop where you're just checking in with yourself, you're trying to see, hey, if you notice that, that's all that really matters. I think a reason maybe we manifest parental burnout or shame or whatever is because a lot of times when we notice that, it goes to like, oh man, I'm fucking up.
I suck. Yeah.
Yeah. If we just remember, dude, in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, it's like this autopilot, if you were not hitting your kid and you were telling them you love them once a day, aces, baby.
Aces. Yeah. Husband of the year, dad of the year.
99th percentile.
Yeah.
And mom of the year. As long as you weren't blowing smoke in their face.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Hey, that mom's
tripping
pretty
out
good.
on Quaaludes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like continually reframing, like, what is the benchmark? Because even that autopilot, the plate is still spinning. It's still going.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, hey, work got busy. I'm going to show up for my family in terms of being the local sport chauffeur, being the helper of household chores and dinner and bedtimes. Hey, maybe you step outside the lines for a week or two or three. It's just recognizing like, oh, you know, I am a wide receiver who has run out of bounds for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to run back in shortly, or else they're going to call you're not allowed to run outside for too long, right? Isn't that a rule?
You can't go out of bounds and come back in and catch it at all.
At all? That's new.
That's been the case since the Houston Oilers blew a 35-point playoff lead to the Buffalo Bills when Don Beebe stepped the fuck out of bounds and came back in and caught a touchdown.
If you get pushed out,
that may be different.
If you get pushed out, you need to make an effort to get back in.
Yeah.
You can't like stay out and run behind the water boy.
Yeah.
But
so it's like, don't
like
beat
that.
yourself up for being out of bounds, but do
just keep running.
Yeah, keep running, but come back in. Yeah.
Come back in.
Yeah. And also the forensics, like you talk sometimes about when you make a decision that you're tending to beat yourself up over, go back and think about like, okay, what was I thinking? Like, why did I make that decision? And like, I got out of bounds because I was working my ass off. And like the nature of my work is that when I work a lot, I make a lot more money because like, you know, I have a project-based business. So it's like, yeah, right now I'm supporting my family in that way. I was trying to figure out why, when I'm a little checked out in this way, do I have a shorter temper with them and like the kids aren't behaving as well? Like I'm not actively doing anything shitty. I'm just not quite as like, and so I was watching this interview with this woman, Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, and she's a neuroscientist who's like studied emotions a ton. And one of kind of her central theses.
Yeah, theses. Theseus's ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One of her central theseus's ship is that largely our brain is a prediction model, and that we don't exactly live in the present. We live almost like the next step ahead. And in the interview, it's funny. The guy's like, "Can you give me an example of that?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're anticipating every word that comes out of my." And he's like, "Oh fuck, yeah." And she's like,
Did
"It's
he
weird.
say
I
mouth?
didn't." No, he like paused because he was like waiting for it. And then he was like, "Oh fuck, yeah, mouth." And she's like, "Yeah." And it would have surprised you if I had said anything other than mouth, right? And so what she argues is that essentially what the brain does is that it anticipates and then adjusts rather than reacting, because that's a more efficient way to run a system. And so she said, therefore, every experience you have is a combination of what's happening right now and your past experiences, which have informed your anticipation. Now, you can relate this to all kinds of shit like trauma, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what I realized is like I was no longer the work we do when we talk about being present. It is trying to make sure that the way we react to the world is not entirely a product of those past experiences, right? It's also a product of what's actually the fuck happening right now, which we talk about all the time with our kids, being present with our kids, right? Like, and you know, some of the like Dan Siegel and some of those big dogs of like early childhood development have basically reduced the complexity of their theories to like try to be present as much as you can. And I realized that when I was like checked out in the way I was not reacting at all to what was happening right now. I was just anticipating based on patterns.
This episode is brought to you by the Milkless Patreon. If you want to keep listening, it's only going to cost $79.99 per month. We're going entirely offline, so you can no longer listen unless you pay $79.99 per month. Just kidding, it's fucking free. We're actually losing money on the episodes, but we love doing it for you. All we want is for you to tell a friend. Think about that one friend who listens to podcasts. They told you about serial podcasts. They told you about, and it's like, tell them about one.
Yeah.
And it's Milkless.
Just return the favor. The $79.99 does get you feet pics from Max. So if you're into that.
Yeah, totally. Well, that makes total sense because I was kind of in a similar zone. I had a very busy week last week. We launched City League, Park City, which is like a local sport thing where it's like,
fuck travel sports, kill travel sports.
Yeah, it's not that aggressive. I mean, come on, I'm a public figure now in the sports scene, but yeah, you know, the traveling is a little aggressive.
I'll be your hype man.
Okay, elite sports, but whatever, not non-travel.
Oh, it's elite local sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sure.
But anyway, so I was stressed too, and I think what happens is when we get somewhat stressed, we really go into that predictive mode, that planning mode. You turn into a COO where you're just planning your life. So then whenever you turn your gaze on your kids, unless you practice meditation daily, it's very hard because your brain is currently that week is wired into ops.
Yeah.
So you're just like, okay, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? It's like I found myself like, okay, we're going to plan out your outfit for tomorrow. It's like we don't usually do that, but because I was in operational mode, I was kind of overwhelmed with work and the City League launch. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm going to optimize these kids too, so that tomorrow morning's breakfast is easier because their clothing is picked out, as opposed to like, which is fine. But I mean, at the same time, it's nice to have these sort of conversations where you recognize that like, maybe like 15 seconds of just gazing into my child's eyes is kind of cool.
Which is not dissimilar from meditation. It's like a exercise in presence, essentially. And I was even noticing small things like when during that time when I was checked out, I was like, oh my God, my kids are fighting again. And I just immediately went into, it starts here with this little bickering and it's going to end with them screaming. And like, I'm just going to take the fucking balloon away because I'm tired of this shit and I ain't got it in me right now. And then like, as I started to become, and it's funny what happened. There are two things I think kind of helped me pull out of this. One is, ever since you publicly shamed me, I've been meditating regularly. Yeah, I'm using the app you sent me, man.
That's what the Buddha says is shame first, meditate second.
Enlightenment later. All enlightenment comes from the path of shame. But so that is like certainly an exercise in like one, being present, and two, the reason that I keep going back to meditation, the reason I can get myself to do it when I can't get myself to do a lot of other things is it feels like a break. It just feels like rest. It's like, oh, here's 10 minutes. I don't have to do anything else. And then the other thing, kind of counterintuitively, is that my wife left town for 4 or 5 nights. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I'd been out of gas, but then it was like, well, guess what? Like, you're fucking doing it. And so suddenly I was just like all in with the kids, had them for a weekend when she was out. And what I noticed was like that same interaction where it's like, oh, they're starting to fight. Here comes the blow up. Here comes the balloon. I'm just going to fucking take the balloon. When I was paying more attention, suddenly I noticed, oh shit, my 2.5-year-old has just recently become really aware of all the things that her big sister can do that she can't. I just had a moment of watching her in the swimming pool, watching her big sister swim into the deep end. And just watch it, and she can't follow. And oh shit, my 2.5-year-old is funny as hell right now. Sometimes accidentally, but she's really funny. And my 7-year-old is feeling insecure because of how much more often my 2.5-year-old makes us laugh.
I'm funny too.
I'm funny too. Yeah. And then it's like, and then she's forcing, and it's like, nah, that's not like, oh my God, by the way, you want to hear the funniest, hold on. How many was it? 10 words? Yeah, it's 10 words. This is a 10-word stretch for my 2.5-year-old comedy masterclass. She starts off by saying, don't embarrass me, Dad, which she doesn't even know what that means, but she just heard it from her sister. That's the setup. Don't embarrass me, Dad. Then she delivers a 2-word hilarity, I tooted. Immediately after don't embarrass me, Dad. But then the real punchline, don't embarrass me, Dad. I tooted. It smells like sheep.
Was she trying to say shit?
No, we were like, sheep? And she goes, yeah, at zoo. Because she calls, because she also, when she says at zoo, she says it like at school. She doesn't say at the zoo. It's at zoo. Don't embarrass me, Dad. I tooted. It smells like sheep at zoo.
Well, have you ever been in a situation where you're kind of turbo dad, turbo parent, turbo mom, and then your kid says something like that, and it kind of is the thing that snaps you out of it, where you're like, oh my God, the funny shit of life is happening right now.
Yeah.
And then it gives you almost permission to take a beat and like, okay, I'm going to appreciate this. I'm going to laugh. And so something for me that using the Waking Up app for meditation has kind of helped me sort of see is like, it's really important to, when you are approaching your kids from a perspective of like awe and wonder and delight, like seeing them as like entertainment almost, or just like, because, you hear that trope of like, oh, they're going to grow up before you know it. And it's like, I get that, because when you're in turbo mode, when you're in planning mode, when you're in that part of your brain that is like getting shit done, chief operating officer, all that shit goes by like real fucking fast.
Yeah.
It's very stressful. It's very hot, very crazy. And then it's just kind of gone before you know it. And I think that the things that you hear on people's deathbeds or when their kids go to college is they're like, man, I wish I had been more present or taking blah, 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 blah. And I think the way that manifests itself is like when you are in turbo, like get shit done mode, unpredictability is what makes me stressed out. Is when something you are expecting to go a certain way does not go that way. It's very upsetting. Your work is supposed to go this way. Someone was supposed to send you a deliverable or this or that, and it doesn't happen. Very upsetting. I had already planned out the day. That is stressful. I was counting on you. When your kids have like, repeatable, structured bedtime and you've done the good work to like have a good fucking bedtime and then they don't do that bedtime, it will bum you the fuck out and I will snap at the kids or something if I'm not. But if I am approaching the kids or life in a way of like trying to find wonder, trying to find delight, awe, look at these insane kids. These kids are fucking meat bags that I made that are so cool. I cannot believe this.
They kind of look like me. It's insane.
It's crazy. Then when the bedtime doesn't go as well, again, I'm not always in this headspace. But when I am, everything's easier. It's like,
well, and it's interesting. It's like, I keep going back to the idea that like, okay, if our brain is in fact largely a prediction engine, and if every moment of our life, the way we experience it is a combination of what is actually happening and then the patterns that we've recognized in order to anticipate what we'll do next, or our past, our history. Well, when you get locked in, you stop like factoring in the present even. You know what I mean? It's like
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you're just reacting to some past whatever. And it's funny, like that funny thing, like what is a hallmark of good comedy? I tooted, it smells like sheep. Sheep is the last word that I expected to hear come out of her mouth. Hyper specific, subverted the expectation I had for what she was about to say in a hilarious way. And then like suddenly
broke the prediction model in your brain.
Broke the prediction model in your brain. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're right there in the present. And of course, like kids are so good at being in the present. And that when you're not at all there, of course you're missing each other because like they're in the right now all the time. And you can get to where you almost kind of never are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, at the end of every episode, we say, I think we drank it.
Cool. Nice subversion.
See? Yeah. So, I kind of broke the model there a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Or I kind of exposed myself as predictable in my attempt at being unpredictable.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. No. Because usually, well, it's funny. Like as soon as you said, I think, I was like, he's going to say solved it because it's about time to wrap up the conversation. But yeah, it is to me, it's interesting as we talk about this stuff, like how much of it seems to circle back around on itself. How like an episode about snapping at your kids or like a conversation about snapping at your kids is related to a conversation about bedtime is related to a conversation about meditation, to the default mode network, to the way that like our brain predicts. It's and ultimately it's funny. It's like when we started doing this show way back when, it was a lot of like, and I still believe sometimes they're like shortcuts or like hacks or like, hey, if you got to do something rough, have something fun at the end of it. There is all that stuff. But these bigger conversations are more like, I'm just trying to be a little different person who's like more present and naturally better at this stuff. And
what's tough is the hack is it's what I feel like you've sort of figured out in like episode 30 or something. It's like, it's us.
Yeah. The problem is us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like I approached the whole beginning of Milkless being like, we're going to figure out how to fucking do the right things. Yeah. That's kind of easy because you can figure out what you're supposed to do in a one ChatGPT prompt. Yeah. There's top 20 things you're supposed to be doing. Easy.
Yeah. It's the doing it that's the trick. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you were going to say something and then I interrupted.
Oh, who can say? Yeah. But I do... It's cool, man. I mean, I think like generally speaking, we've talked about this too. Growth only happens through discomfort. You grow a lot more through your failures than through your successes. I do feel like these are the ways that parenting just forces this stuff. This is just shit that I did not have to deal with really before I had kids. Because I was coasting.
There's something else that matters. Like if you're coasting as an individual, well, at least my fucking career's going in the right direction. Like, and go out to dinner like once a week with my wife. Got it. Check. You know, like, whereas this is like, holy shit. I am the kid's omnipotent source. You know, like this is crazy. So one actually like to actually throw a life pro tip or a hack in there. Cause something that I don't know if any of the listeners are kind of like me where it's kind of like all or nothing. It's like, okay, I'm feeling down. I'm going to go crazy. And then I'm going to go build them an igloo in the snow and do all this crazy shit and like work for 16 hours with the kids and like earn their love and be the best dad in the world. What I'm trying to learn is like, it doesn't need to be that. And if you are in the autopilot mode, literally the 15 seconds a day per kid, where just like dedicated eye contact, not reading fucking bedtime stories, not singing him a song, not scratching a back, just like, hey. And at first they weren't really like used to it. I'm like, hey, take a look at me. I really want to tell you something. Mm-hmm. You are like awesome. Like, I'm like so pumped that you are my kid. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, like I could have had any kids and then you're the one. And I just want you to know that every day when I think about you, I'm like so happy that it's you. Just something like that, 15 seconds. And they're like, thanks, Dad, blah, blah. And then I go on with my day. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I don't need to build them a fucking zip line to earn their love.
Right. Yeah.
I just told them one little thing and I could tell that it made a sparkle in their eye. And it was like, wow. So maybe autopilot plus one true connection per day, even if that connection's 20 seconds, makes me feel like I've checked the boxes I want to check.
Yeah. And the truth is that 20 seconds changes the whole day for you and for them, right? Because it's just like, I mean, that's one of the things that you hear about meditation a lot. It's like, it's insane what 10 minutes a day will do for you. And then if you do like 10 minutes a day and then you do like 30 seconds once every hour or two, suddenly like the line, like you just practicing being present in this way that then just infuses the whole rest of your life. And then suddenly the kids are behaving better. They're not fighting as much because we know that like so much of sibling rivalry ultimately comes down to like a competition for the parents' attention and love and resources. And like, it just all starts to get easier again.
Well, I think we've solved him.
God, that just makes me uncomfortable. All right, brother. We'll talk again soon, man. Take it easy, man.
Sounds good.
Bye.
This episode of Milkless is brought to you by Violet Archer in the case of the Purple Martin. Thank you. Bye.